Want to take you a doodly doo. Can you dig it? And all I wanna do is just listen to you. King Policy 72. Can you dig it? Want to take you a doodly doo. Can you dig it? And all I wanna do you is just listen to you. Thank you, Policy 72. Can you dig it? KQ. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Can you dig it?
1, 2, KQ, doo-doo-doo-doo. Can you dig it? Yeah, can you dig it?
Ho, ho, ho. Welcome to KQ. Jolly, jolly. Yo, yo. What up, everybody? Coming to you from the mean streets once again of Montgomery, Alabama. Every single time we look up, we remember we in Montgomery. Man, Ken, tell them about your trek in Montgomery in this horrible economy to the store. Man, so all of a sudden, I decided to go shopping for my grandkids for Christmas. And this was this past Monday. 11 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm riding through town trying to go and pick up a few presents. Every parking lot I pass by, not just the retail stores, but practically every restaurant at 11 o'clock in the morning, every grocery store. It looked like it was Thanksgiving. It was just every cars bustling up and down, traffic everywhere. It was like,
and that's because people ain't got no money.
No, I'm listening on the radio. At the time I'm listening on the radio was talking about we're gonna hit. It looks like we're gonna hit records, new records in consumer participation in the American economy to give it a Christmas boost like unlike ever before.
Absolutely.
This is the Hiroshima of economic boosts from the economy of the normal citizens out shopping, spending their extra earned cash in this horrible Biden economy that everybody says is just dire straits. I'm like, where are all these shops? I ain't seen shoppers, and that's just in Montgomery, Alabama, just in little
a snapshot.
Just a snapshot down in Monkey Town, but it's actually happening all across the nation.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is, I'm just going to be very frank with you. I'm sick and tired and ticked off a little bit about the fact that Biden is not getting the credit that he deserves. Literally, if you look at all of the trumpeting of how good the last president did, Benedict Donald, I think was his name.
Yellow Cheeto.
Orange Mussolini.
That man.
He was there every single time the economy ticked up. Everybody got in line in lockstep and just paraded behind him and acted like it was the best thing since sliced bread. His numbers are nowhere close to the numbers that we're seeing now. Everything is popping. Everything positive is going in the right direction. Protections against healthcare costs. Anything you can think of in any type of female healthcare protections are coming from the Democratic side. All of the attacks are coming from the right-wing side. Voting rights. Voting rights have always, Democrats always make it so that everybody can vote and Republicans shoot for people not voting. Like all of the areas that you pick, it's overwhelming. And we have an election coming up. And so it's high time we start looking at the difference between how good is Biden doing versus how bad he's treated in the media. He doesn't have the types of issues that Benedict Donald has.
No, not at all. But the right wing, however, they conspicuously, every time they come up with a new charge or a new crime or a new something that Donald Trump or his cohorts are doing, the right wing, including the right wing media and even some of the on the fence media like CNNs, they will come out with an opposite narrative to exactly what it is that Trump is being indicted for. They'll come up with an opposite narrative that is trying to implicate Biden and the Biden crime family and them taking bribes from China. But we all know that Donald Trump got $17 million from China back when he was in office and immediately withdrew 15 of them. And nobody said
a lot of people don't know a lot about him.
Yeah, we don't know about a lot of that stuff because, but we stay in the weeds. That's what KQ do. So we know about a whole lot of this stuff. We've seen the reports, we've seen the stories, we know the tallies, we know the malfeasance, and Jack Smith does as well. Because if the whole internet knows, and the whole internet does know this stuff, Kev. They know it.
Yeah.
But you just no mass media thing, no what do they call them? The mainstream, no mainstream media people are broadcasting it and talking about it in a manner that it needs to be discussed. That frankly is kind of despicable what we're dealing with.
The first, there's two sides of the coin. On one side of the coin, you have the Biden administration that has been prolific, proficient, and extremely aware of all of the underlying issues that it takes to, undergird a growth environment. Yeah. Like a serious approach to governing.
Yeah,
and then the Republicans, they only thing they do is defend Donald Trump.
Yeah, they use the squirrel approach. Squirrel, and then point at Dark Brandon.
Yeah, anything that they can do to get through the day to make sure that Donald Trump is considered to be a credible candidate, they'll do it. It doesn't matter what it is. He's not a credible like dog catcher. He couldn't be a credible dog catcher. He literally couldn't be trusted to go out and take a truck out and catch dogs.
What about
a company will not deal with a person like him.
What about
to even do something like that? But we're considering him to be the president of the United States versus a president that has massive accomplishments and accolades undergirding his portfolio. There's no question that Joe Biden has been sufficient, proficient, and cognizant of all of the issues all the way down that he can possibly touch on. We're gonna just show you a couple of clips because if this one doesn't make the list, Biden pardons 11 nonviolent drug offenders, thousands of certain, but he actually let go of tens of thousands of convicted felons, people who had possession or it wasn't even distribution, it was possession or usage. And, he let them go today, or actually over the last couple of days. This is a flattering picture of old Dark Brandon.
Yes, sir. Looks like he's about to spit out a whistle. But that's my man.
Thousands. He let them go today, So we can't deny that he's not looking. Now, this ain't nothing necessarily for no particular race. All right. But
yeah,
that happened. And you never will get that kind of clarity and that call out. He actually did that. If can you imagine Trump doing this? He did a few of these, but it wasn't to the degree that Biden did.
Yeah, it was because Kanye and his ex-wife Kimberly, Blue Kardashian Red West, she pulled up and she asked him to pardon that lady. Boy, man, that one video we did back in the day when Trump was sitting there, he's like,
you want to kill all the convicted drug deal, anybody convicted of drugs, you got to kill them. He's like, but didn't you pardon that lady that was convicted?
Yeah.
But under your policy, she would have been killed. He was like, but
you mean no,
wait,
she wouldn't have been killed.
No, before I
that
made
policy.
The policy. Yeah, I mean, if we had the policy, then she would have never even sold drugs.
She wouldn't have sold them in the first place.
Yeah. So she wouldn't have had to be pardoned. She would have been murked a long time ago.
So I'm gonna just take it back here. Here's some things that actually have happened under Joe Biden that Donald Trump didn't get close to anything like this. Y'all remember when the supply chain shortage happened? As soon as we started back booming after COVID, once the vaccine took effect and people started getting back to work, demand just shot up. So immediately once demand shoots up, then you're going to have to worry about what do you do to get the product in here. And a lot of the things were shut down. We had car sales going down because there was no inventory. Things like washing machines with chips in them couldn't even get made. Yeah. And so, and that's where China was actually kicking our butts.
Yeah, they was kicking our butts, except for at that particular time, COVID was kicking their butts. So a lot of those factories that made the chips and stuff were shut down or ill-equipped to handle the demand simply because they didn't have employees to show up to work because they was at home or in hospitals dying and stuff. So they weren't able to manufacture the chips. Therefore, they couldn't make chips. So the price of used cars went through the roof because they couldn't make enough new cars. They didn't have the chips to put the new cars out. So people were trying to buy used cars. So many people with so much money. I mean, that was the thing. Money started flowing again, and we hadn't looked back literally since
2021.
We hadn't looked back since 2021. We've been busting ever since.
$200 billion in private investments. This article was from looks like semiconductor.com.
Yeah, the industry itself. They put this magazine article out on the YouTubes.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Equipment, materials, R&D facilities, and semiconductors. This is where this stuff is getting produced all over the country. Doesn't matter whether it's a red state or a blue state, it's all over. And semiconductors now, this is causing us to kick China's butt. We got China in a sling. Okay. Everybody, every single president, I'm tough on China, I'm tough on China, I'm tough on Russia, tough on Russia. Well, this is actually happening. And China's economy is tanking.
Yep, they're still reeling from the after effects of COVID and the fact that Joe Biden said we're going to make chips in America.
Yeah.
Hot damn.
So now let's look at the next little quick thing. Infrastructure bill. We had an infrastructure bill. During Trump administration, we had an infrastructure week every single week for like 2.5 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna talk.
They ain't never built nothing.
We're gonna talk about it. Never did nothing. Now, here in my own hometown, Montgomery, Alabama, and as a matter of fact, I happen to know for 100% certainty that it's happening all across America. You know where I'd like to see it go down at, Kev?
Where?
All right, so when you leave Atlanta and you're shooting up through South Carolina, Georgia, North Georgia, and you go South Carolina, you shoot through North Carolina, is one little part of the tip where it goes through South Carolina to North Carolina. That one little stretch of highway right there, I think you'd be on 75 north or something, shooting up the East Coast.
75 north.
Yeah, 75. Right there for about a good 20-mile stretch, it turns into practically a gravel road.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if any of that infrastructure money is made it there. I'm gonna have to Google Earth that thing and see what's happening.
Who knows, bro?
Yeah, it's happening.
I hope it. But it probably has.
But if it happened down the street from here, and if it happened on Court Street, Roselle Parks, baby, in Montgomery, Alabama, it's got to be happening all around the world. This ain't nothing. This ain't no new.
And this is why. That's why you have this type of stuff happening.
Yeah.
Because it's popping up all over. Even the Republicans, if it happens in their district and they don't show up, it makes them look stupid. Okay. We have a major road going up, and the Republican that represents me didn't show up and didn't vote for it.
Right.
Then automatically that person is going to be more prone to say, well, if the Republicans didn't vote for it, it must have been the Democrats. Yeah. They don't want that. So guess what they have to do? They have to show up at these events where they all voted no. Every single Republican in the House and the Senate voted no for the infrastructure bill. Right. But they keep showing up at the groundbreakings.
Yep. And that black lady, Kamala Harris, was the tiebreaker.
Yes, indeed. And that is glorious. 2023 must be the year of the black woman. I'm just saying that.
Yeah. Katanji. Holla, Katanji.
Ruby Freeman, Shay Moss.
Oh, yeah.
Letitia James.
Fonnie Willis.
Fonnie the Dawn.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, another thing, not only did they do infrastructure and chips, but they also did student aid relief. So I'm gonna just give y'all a quick rundown. What happened was the Biden administration came up with a plan to go ahead and secure student loan aid relief for millions of Americans to the tune of $800 billion. Something crazy.
Good money.
Because we have $1 trillion worth of student debt in this country. And we're the only country that allows students to take on debt just for going to college. The other countries don't allow it, but we do. Yeah. So we want to make sure that everybody gets rich off of it, to the point that even if you have student loan debt, that's the one thing you can't claim on bankruptcy. You can claim credit card debt, you can claim housing debt, you can claim card notes, but you can't do it with student loans. So Biden says, let me dig in and give these people some relief. All of the Republicans get mad and they say, no, we can't give nobody relief on student loans because those are everyday, ordinary working people.
Yeah, we can't take my tax dollars and use it to pay off somebody else's debts.
Yeah, we can give tax dollars to pay off somebody else's debts when it's the PPP loans or rich people's taxes. Yeah, we can let go of their debts, but we can't do it for an everyday, ordinary person. So the Republicans got mad and the Democrats said, oh, well. So what happened was Biden decided to go in and figure out a different way to give people student loan relief. So he gave people that had student loan relief, debt for over 20 years relief and relieve some of their loans because he found ways that the federal government had done them wrong during the processing of their loans. So now they get relief too. Republicans are still mad. They're horribly mad. And guess what? Biden still announces $5 billion in additional debt relief. They just announced this on the 6th of December. And yes, he has figured out another loophole to get this much more relief to Americans. What happens when these Americans get this student loan relief in their hands? That means they don't have to pay it to the student loan companies. Now they can spend it on things that they want and need. And we have a consumer-driven economy here. 70% of our economic growth is spurred through consumer-driven activities. This puts money in the hand of consumers. It's going to bolster our economy even more, creating a more equitable, even, and viable playing field for us to play on. This is what you want. Calculated steps that drive economic growth. This is something this wasn't born out of an idea on this day. This was patterned because it's a guy with a lot of experience. You say he's old. Old ain't so bad. Old and being Trump, now that's bad. When you old and you got how many felony counts? 91 felony counts?
Yeah, he's sitting on 91.
Yeah, I thought I had that. That's the one that I clicked off of by mistake. But yeah, when you sitting on 91 felony counts and talking about executing your former Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, and you talking about Trump poisoning the blood remarks, and you talking about poisoning the blood and being dictator on day one, that's a little bit different than somebody who is building infrastructure in the country. Pardoning nonviolent possession offenders. You know, I mean, the case is not close.
Right. Not close at all. Therefore, scroll on down there, man. Let me talk about one of these clips.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What's the next one? Yeah. So you got dictator in chief talking about he wants to be a dictator on day one, and he wants to vow revenge on all of our media, any media that comes out against it. So once they start talking about putting people in concentration camps, which he's mentioned that. He's mentioned executing drug dealers and executing generals.
And executing people as they're walking out of stores after looting.
Yeah. And
if you loot, I'm gonna execute you.
Yeah, and then he vows revenge on the media. He wants to shut MSNBC down and CNN down and maybe even Fox News too. All the mainstream. He wants to kill all of that. So, and he's touting Hitler remarks, and he's saying he's going to do all of the things that Hitler did.
And he spurred January 6th, where people attacked the Capitol of the United States.
Yes, and every time he puts these people's pictures online, like he just did the judges in Colorado that said he couldn't be on the ballot. He puts their pictures on his website and makes a couple of threats, and next thing you know, they're getting death threats from all the MAGA, and people are talking about forming posses out in front of their house with signs and AR-15s and however they're doing it. But no, that's not what democracy is. That's not what democracy is about. That's not what our forefathers fought for, to defend this nation. They fought to defend this nation from people like this guy who wants to take over and run it all on his own.
He's the opposite of what we need.
Yes, and our Supreme Court is kind of the opposite of what we need as well.
They were born out of the same.
Yeah, Federalist Society, freaking crazy people. Yeah, but you get what you pay for.
And I'm gonna just tell you, we only have a short amount of time and a short amount of things that we can do to influence this thing. We cannot allow the Republicans to take control of this country again. If we do that this time, we're going to go too far back into a spot that we cannot recover from. This is serious now. I mean, like, y'all really have to like take the Republican Party and put them in a category of idiotic and totally unproductive and detrimental. If you don't do that right now, you're going to be in a serious situation, and everybody's going to look up and say, well, how did we end up here? Well, it's because you ain't looked now. All of the evidence is out there for you. We're treating Joe Biden and Donald Trump as if they're in the same class of person. Joe Biden has not been adjudicated by a civil trial court judge as having committed rape. Trump has. Trump was the person that actually held on to documents after receiving a subpoena and lying in writing, saying that he's turned over everything. These documents that included our nuclear secrets. You know, I mean, so there's a different class of crap going on. And so many times people are putting Trump and Donald in the same paradigm. They're two totally different types of beings. Let's stop playing like, we can, give the Republicans a chance to run our government into the ground again. They keep doing it over and over.
Yeah, they say it was the best economy, and those people believe it. They say it was booming. People believe
it. And it's booming way better now. Better now.
I mean, yeah, by the numbers, but not
of course by the numbers.
Not by the feelings, though.
We can't. If nobody can dig into a particular human being and make them feel differently. That's not what I'm talking about.
Haters gonna hate.
What I'm talking about is the playing field is the playing field.
Yes,
and you always measure the playing field by the same numbers.
Right. So we're talking to
the playing field now is way better.
Yeah. No doubt. We're only talking to the sensible people that have sense, that may be on the fence about whether or not you even feel like, it's even worth the effort to go out and vote. But you're sensible and you understand, and maybe you're watching a little bit here and there, and hey, someone right about that boy. Go do what you got to do. We're telling you, it is detrimental.
It's close, y'all. We close.
We close.
You saw what happened on January 6th. I never thought that I would see a spot in our existence where a group of people could actually go up to the Capitol of the United States and barge in and put the Congress people there in jeopardy. I never thought that could have happened. Never.
Yeah.
In a million years. As a matter of fact, there's no way that it could have happened during the Black Lives Matter protests because they had people there that were armed and ready to go. And if anybody tried it, it would have been a whole different kind of story than what you saw. Those people were actually like, if you take the people and you switch out the color, black versus white, during the Black Lives Matter protests versus January 6th, if you just change the color of people, what would that did?
Hey,
it would have been different.
It's been fun. It's been good. We're trying to keep this thing under 30 minutes because y'all have short attention spans. We're just looking at the numbers.
Well,
KQ!
What we're gonna start doing, we're gonna start breakdancing in the first 2 minutes. And then after that, it's on you.
Yeah, we're working on that video now. Hey, stay tuned. Keep it live. Keep it happy. Keep it right. Do the right thing. Love somebody. That's what Christmas is all about.
Love somebody and love yourself.
Hey, happy holidays.
And vote accordingly.
And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, baby.
And to all a good night.